everybody, and thank you for joining me today. My name's Hannah and thank you for joining me here at Hannah's Happy Space. It's my happy space because I'm going to spend the next however long talking about my favourite thing, which is crafting. Now, I should give a short explanation as to who I am and what this video is all about. Now, if you're a returning subscriber, here come the it's been a while. There we go again. If you're a returning subscriber, you may have noticed, sorry, I've got stuff everywhere and I'm just trying to get it all in the right place. Yeah, you may have noticed that this video is a little bit different. This channel, Hannah's Happy Space, has been going for a few years on and off, and I have used it mostly, nearly all of it. It has been for a knitting and crochet general craft podcast. Now, I haven't done a podcast for, I think I had a look and it says something like 10 or 11 months. Now, in that time, I have been knitting and crocheting, but not a lot at all, because I found cross stitch. Now, if you've been here before again, you'll know I have been doing cross stitch in the past, just odd projects, but I've fallen hard. I've fallen right down that rabbit hole and discovered Floss Tube, which has to be one of the reasons why cross stitch has taken over. I am still knitting and crocheting, like I say, but just the occasional project. So for the time being, these videos won't be knitting and crochet podcasts. They will be Floss Tubes, which are, like I say, all about cross stitch. If cross stitch isn't your thing, absolutely fine, no problem at all. You don't have to watch. If you want to stay and watch, that's brilliant. So I will be talking cross stitch. If I've done maybe a knitting or a crochet project, I might tack that on at the end to share with everybody. If the knitting and crochet bug suddenly comes back, I will do a podcast, but the videos will be clearly titled. So like you'll have just seen, there's a little intro that didn't say Hannah's Happy Space knitting and crochet podcast. It said Floss Tube, and the titles will stay the same. So that's that little explanation done. Let me tell you, for those of you who don't know me or do maybe know me but haven't been here for a while, like I say, I've not been here, let me tell you who I am. So like I said, my name is Hannah. I live in Devon in the southwest of England, and if I look out my kitchen window, there's Dartmoor right there. So that's where I am in the world. I will do the very British thing and tell you that the weather actually is lovely today. I'm just listening because it is quite windy and the wind is whistling down our chimney and I can hear it. Hopefully that it won't pick up on the video. If it does, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, like I say, beautiful day. So hopefully I'll get out in the garden a bit later. Today is Wednesday I should have checked. Let's work it out. 15th was Sunday, 16th, 18th of March. And Wednesdays are normally my day to myself. I live with my sister Cara and her son Sebi. He's 12. I'm a full-time carer for Cara. So we're at home a lot. So I do get a fair amount of crafting time when I can. So yeah, that's that. Basically, that's who I am. So there might be occasional life updates. I'll be able to tell you what's going on. So today, like I say, is a day to myself. So that's why I've quickly jumped on. I've been thinking about doing a Floss Tube for a little while and the opportunity has come today, so that's what I'm doing. Sebi is home educated. Today he has gone to forest school, so that's where he is all day. Cara's gone to see some friends this morning. I'm going to do some cross stitch, I'm sure, at some point today, but I do like it when it's sunny. I'm looking that way because that's our conservatory through to our garden. When it's nice weather, I like to go and have an hour sitting in the garden reading my book, so I'll probably do that at some point as well. Excuse me. Right, so I'm just gonna have a quick drink. Hopefully there won't be too many ums and ers and everything else. I've got to remember how to get back into it, look at the camera, concentrate on what I'm doing. Now, I've left a bit of a gap here because I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can work the editing software and we'll be able to put pictures in here at some point when I need to. So let's talk a little bit about cross stitch, my cross stitch journey. So I've cross stitched for a long time. I can't remember when I sort of started, But like I say, I was what we'd call a multi-crafter, if you like, and did all different craft projects. And the occasional cross-stitch project came along. And I'd work on one cross-stitch project at a time. You will notice things have changed. So yeah, like I say, the occasional project, and I did things that I found online. A lot of things I did from, oh, name's got out now. Is it Jess? The Geeky Stitching Company. A lot of patterns by Jess. I'm pretty sure that's her name. And yeah, just sort of whatever I could find, looking on Etsy, that kind of thing. Nothing huge, always little projects, maybe ones that you could put in, just displayed it in embroidery hoop, which is mostly what I did, and a few little pillows, turn them into pillows. So that's where I'd started, and so I would say I've been properly into cross stitch since, well, I've actually got this little book here, and it will tell me, because I knew things had got serious when I decided to start recording what I'd done. So in May, I always record my knitting crochet projects. So I thought, if I'm going to do this seriously, I'm going to get hold of one of these. So this is the cross stitch journal. I picked this up at online on the Stitchery Dorset. I just Googled cross stitch journals and lots of different ones came up. This one has spaces for your projects. So names of projects, really basic information really. Project names, pattern designers, start dates and end dates, stitched on, stitch count, stitch size, oh, that's a lot of S's, your floss, time tracker and notes, which I don't tend to use, sorry, that's the glare coming off there. So these kind of things. And so like I say, May was when we really got stuck in, and that was project number 1, and now we're up to project 34. So in the last 8 months, things have become serious with cross stitch, doing the cross stitch. Then I found Floss Tube. So being on YouTube as a knitting and crochet podcaster, I watched other people who did that, and they also did cross stitch, some of those people, and they mentioned Floss Tube, and I thought, I'll just have a look. Oh, you guys have got a lot to answer for. So like I say, I always used to be a monogamous stitcher until I really got into Floss Tube, and I thought, oh, well, no, if I was knitting or crocheting, I'd have more than one project on the go. So maybe I'll just do one more. I'll have 2 on the go. I currently have, I think it's 8, which I know probably doesn't sound that many to some people. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should have counted before. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Although I say 8, 9. I haven't actually 10. I think 10. Although some of them aren't actually started. So they're projects that are ready to go, kitted up and ready to go. So do you think that maybe that's enough waffle? That's roughly where I'm at. I'll put little bits of information in and out between. If you've got any questions, comment box down below. I will do my best to link anybody that I talk about, so pattern designers, project, oh no, all my project bags are by me. Any designers, anything where I bought things from, any other Floss Tubes, all that kind of thing. So let's get into some cross stitch straight away, and like I say, I'll try and put some bits and bobs in between. So I'm going to refer to this book for notes, so hopefully I'll give you everything I need. If I can't remember anything, I'll maybe put information up on the screen. Let's just see how we get on. I'm open to lots of comments down below to let me know how I can improve on this. I haven't done it before. I have filmed before, so I've got an idea of what I'm doing there. But hopefully I've got all the lingo down for Floss Tube. So let's start with, so when I fell down the cross stitch rabbit hole, I had been watching someone on YouTube who was a knitter, and they'd been doing a lot of cross stitch by Needlelot Designs. So I went over and had a look, and they were beautiful. They're one of my favourite designers, Needlelot Designs. So if I keep looking around, it's because, like I say, I've got things dotted everywhere. I'm going to try not to wobble the camera when I pick things up. But let's start with, there we go. The camera is attached to a sort of tripod-y type thing on a chair, and I've put some bits on the chair, so hopefully I didn't wobble you around too much then. So let me just get this one up, and hopefully I'll be able to avoid any glare. So here is the first piece that I finished. Oh, a little bit of glare. Turn it a bit, oh no, not that way, because that's, there we go. Oh, actually, just to let you quickly know, I do share my projects over on Instagram, so you can find me over there at Hannah's_happy_space. So I'll link that below. So first of all, this project is celestial orcas. So orcas are one of my favourite animals. Purple is my favourite colour. So this one was absolutely ideal. This one has been stitched on 14 count DMC Lilac Ada, and was stitched using all the called for DMC flosses. So that was my first finished project for this stage of cross stitching. I have put ones in frames for, I just framed this myself. This was just a cheap frame I picked up on Amazon. So that is the first one. So we were on Needlelot Designs, whoopsie, was one I was sticking with. Ooh, some bit of fluff. So the next one is the Bumblebee. That's up on the wall upstairs, so I'll put a picture in here. Hopefully this little finger will remind me to do that. So the Bumblebee, I stitched on pale pink Zweigart Ada 14 count, and I used all the called for DMC threads. Yeah, and that's Bumblebee by Needlelot Designs again. So that was project number 2. So at this point I was working on one project at a time. The orcas took me just under a month, and the Bumblebee took me about 3 weeks. So I was doing a little bit more knitting and crocheting alongside these, and like I say, just the one project at a time. We've got 2 more Needlelot Designs. Again, I'm just stretching over here. So the next one, again, try not to get too much glare, is Capybara Tea Time. Okay, just bring it closer without too much. Oh, sorry, there's the light shining off it. So again, this is stitched on the same pale pink Ada that I stitched the Bumblebee on. So it's Zweigart 14 counts, put my teeth in, 14 count Zweigart pale pink Ada. And again, all the called for DMC threads. I do tend to stitch everything with DMC threads, and I do tend to stick to pattern at the moment. There's a few times I've branched out, but I'll talk about those when we get there. So again, one single project that I was working on all the time, and this one, oh wow, I've just looked, it took me 5 days. So I'm a paper pattern stitcher mostly. I have just treated myself to a new tablet because things were getting serious, and I heard lots of people talking about Pattern Keeper, and I want to go on to bigger projects. So, but at this stage, this was all paper patterns, crossing them off as I went. Yeah, so that's that one. And then we finally have one more Needlelot Designs at the moment. Oh, one moment, I've just forgotten a load of projects. So give me 2 seconds and I'll be back. Okay, right, sorry about that. I went around the house before I started collecting up all my finished projects and forgot the stack of ones that are finished but not fully finished. So we'll get to them in a second. Right, where was I? Needlelot designs. Okay, so now we've got the Poison Heart Frog. So that is this one. Really, really love this one. Pink is my next favourite. So this is Poison Heart Frog again by Needlelot Designs. This is stitched on the same 14 count DMC Lilac Ada that I stitched the Orcus on. Again, using all the called for DMCs. So this time, rather than framing, I think this was how they had it, like a sample stitch on her website. It was like this. So I've wrapped this round the mount board and covered up the back with a piece of felt. Then I've put this pom-pom trim on, and I've got this little pink acrylic stand. I got this on Etsy, and I was searching for like sorry, I'm trying to get it to stand up. Plate stands. I think this came up as like a company that did things like leaflet stands for businesses. So it just sits like that. There we go. So that's that one. There is another Needlelot Designs. That's where I remembered in that pile. So these aren't all completely pressed. Sorry, I have a quick drink. So you'll have to excuse any wrinkles. So this was my first Sal stitch along. So first time joining in with a Sal, and I'd seen this was like a short one because she'd had one that wasn't quite a year long. It was a very long time, and I couldn't join in with that one. So when this one came up along, this was a Patreon, not Patreon, Ko-fi member exclusive. So I signed up for this one, and I'll show you and then we'll talk about it. So this is the Divine Beast Sal. So yeah, it's been folded up, which probably isn't the best way to have it stored. So excuse the creases. So this, like I say, is the Divine Beast Sal. This is Greek mythology, and I love Greek mythology. It's one of my favourites. You'll see a bit later on I'm working on another project. So yeah, one of my interests, if you like. So on this one, you've got Zeus, which is represented by Pegasus. Hades, which is, Pegasus is the horse. Hades, the god, is represented by Cerberus, which is the 3-headed dog. Then we've got Poseidon. Oh, now can I remember what that creature's called? I don't know if I can. I'll put it on the screen. I think it begins with a C. That's really helpful, isn't it? But anyway, so it was a 3-part Sal. You could do the border or leave that one off. You could do that first and then do the rest. And this also was my first try at a very small amount of metallic thread. Bum, bum, bum. So that's here. It's only very small amounts. I think it's just the names on the names of the gods. This was using DMC, so it's all DMC. Their metallic thread. Yeah, it's horrible. I did not enjoy that experience. I don't know if I've used metallic thread since then, actually. Well, we'll find out in a minute, I'm sure. But I know DMC is not everyone's favourite for metallic threads. I haven't ventured into sort of Cryonics and things like that. I do know now that I can use thread conditioner on a metallic thread, so maybe if I have to use them again, then that will be the way to go. Sorry, fluff in my eye from all these bits. Yeah, so that's my first Sal, and that is they finished up, that was finished a while ago and has been awaiting a frame. Yeah, so I started that on my birthday last year, the 7th of July, and finished on the 13th of October. So because I was monogamously stitching, I was keeping up with this sal. Although obviously I was well, not obviously, but I was doing one part of this and then I'd go over to another project. So yeah, these parts were released on the 1st of each month. So the frame I did as a birthday start, and then part 1, part 2, part 3 were the 1st of August, September and October. So there's that one. Moving on, hopefully maybe I need to speed up a little bit because I'm going to be here forever otherwise. Just popping down here to get the next ones. So this is a set of 3, which I did do pretty much in order, one after the other. Not order, because I don't think there is an order. Anyway, first off, these are by a designer called Nathnolu, which I bought their patterns from Etsy, so I'll link that below. First one is Cozy Nest. Ooh. So obviously I was very much drawn to this because I am a knitter and I do love to knit socks. I've got my hand knitted socks on right away, right now even. And I do like a crow. Love crows. Birds in general I do like to stitch. So there he is in his little cozy nest. Really enjoyed stitching this one. I really like the colour palette, very autumnal. Oopsie, big glare there. So it's really hard with the glass not to get anything to shine on there. So that's the first one. Again, all the called for DMCs. This time I stitched on Zweigart Ada again, but this is vintage sand in 14 count. So I am an Ada stitcher. I have had a little go at even weave, didn't get on, I think because I chose quite a dark coloured even weave to start with. I might have a go in the future, but at the moment I do like Ada, and I do use 14, mostly 16 at the moment. Would like to have a go at some smaller counts because I am planning on a full coverage piece. Yeah, I might give even weave another go at some point, but obviously this is my hobby and I want it to be fun. So Ada's really nice and easy to use. I do love the look of pieces stitched on other cloths. We'll maybe get there at some point. So that's Cozy Nest, and then from the same designer, we've got the book Burrow, which is this little badger. Again, one of my other favourite hobbies is to read. So this was perfect. A cute little frog on his chair there. Yeah, again, really lovely. Oh gosh, that's big. There we go. Really lovely colour palette again. Yeah, just really enjoy stitching that one. This one is again all the call for DMCs, and this time it's on Vintage Country Cream 14 counts by Ada. So, and finally, the last one in this set that I've stitched is the Crafter Owl, who is cross stitching or possibly embroidery, but we'll go with cross stitching. So obviously had to do this one even if I wasn't planning on doing the whole set. There we go. So that's him. Really cute. Again, another really enjoyable stitch. This one was stitched on vintage sand again. So I framed them all up the same, thinking I'd put them sort of in a line or something, and then they've brought out another one from here. I'll pop it in here if I'll find a picture. It's of a little fox in his chair doing some quilting, so I will need to complete the set at some point and stitch that one too. So that's those 3. What is next? The Salem Sisters Apothecary. So that's this one. Oh, which way to turn it? So I have, I think, a fairly eclectic taste in my stitching. In general, in things, I like very cutesy, I like witchy, anything that I think's, anything that I like, I'll stitch basically. So they're not, oh, this is swinging around all over the place, let's do it like this. I will do whatever takes my fancy. So this is Salem Sisters Apothecary, which is a Primrose Stitches, designed by Lindsay Waite. Let's have a look. So this one, if I bring it closer, light's blowing it out a little bit. I had to go at tea dyeing my own Ada, which I have done before, but yeah, I've had some very dark, I got a bit carried away with the tea bags last time, so this one is a lot paler. So all I did was filled a big bowl with hot water and tea bag. I think I used 2 tea bags for this one. It's quite a big piece of Ada that I put in. Dry Ada, scrunched it up into a ball, plopped it in, left it in there for a while. I think some people, when I've looked it up online, say you should maybe put it in the oven to set the colour. I didn't. I just wrung it out and hung it out on the washing line, then ironed it. So that's that one. This is all stitched in DMC 310. And what I did with this one is wrapped it around a piece of mount board. Then I bought this piece of, I think it's plywood. Yeah, plywood from Hobbycraft. And I just took a pair of scissors. So I've got these serrated scissors and just roughed up all the edges, painted it black, hung it on. Bit of twine or hairy string, I like to call it. Is it jute or rope or anyway, natural string. Hung it up, and that's that one finished. Okay, where have we got to now? Book of Deadly Poisons. So let's have a look. I've got a pile of pieces here. Here we go. Hopefully, I haven't got a board or anything, so hopefully the light won't shine through this too much. This is the Book of Deadly Poisons. Bring it in a bit closer. So this is a design by Haunted Frames. So I picked this one up on Etsy. This one has been stitched on Zweigart Antique White Ada 14 count and stitched with the DMC threads again. Now, I have got a plan to finish this one. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. I've picked up from the works a wooden box, which is sort of book shaped. Hopefully this will fit on the front. I just picked it up when I saw it and didn't buy it intentionally for that. I just thought, oh, that might work. If not, work for something else. So my plan is to paint the box up and then put this one on the top. So that's that one. Start going a little bit quicker. Next is Believe in. No, that's gone away in the Christmas box. I did some Christmas projects, but I can't get to those because they're in the Christmas box. Winter Moon. This is a design by Love Poppet, which I'm sure lots of you will have heard of. Really beautiful designs from Love Poppet. Again, excuse the creases. Oh, I don't know if you've heard all that. There's some birds just landed on my conservatory roof. Yeah, so this is Winter Moon by Love Poppet, stitched on 14 count Zweigart Royal Blue Ada. I'm not sure why this one didn't end up in a, it was going to go in a hoop for Christmas, and I don't know why it didn't. You might be able to tell from this that I like to stitch in a hoop. I haven't got one to hand to show you. They're all full of projects. I like to stitch in a square hoop, nudge hoops usually. I suffer with carpal tunnel in my wrists, so I can't stitch one-handed. So holding onto a hoop, holding onto a hoop with one hand like this and stitching through, this gives me a lot of pain all the way up and down my arms. So I stitch using one of these, which is a lap frame. Well, it might help if I showed you the right way around, mightn't it? A little sneak peek of what I'm up to. So this just holds my hoop, put this on my lap. It's adjustable. so it fits the size of the hoops, and then it means I can stitch two-handed without any discomfort. I've also got a desk upstairs where I stitch, and I've got on there a table clamp. It's okay. It was really cheap. I think it was like under a tenner from Amazon, which I just picked up because I wanted to have a try with a different type of, rather than taking that upstairs all the time, bringing it up and down. It's just laziness, really. So having to go with that. So if you have got any ideas of different stands that you use, lap stands, the ones you tuck under your leg, under your bottom, whatever you do with those, table stands, all that kind of thing, literally anything that you think you can recommend to me as a cross stitcher, let me know, because like I say, I've not been doing this long. I'm slowly building up stash. I have some fabrics and threads which I tend to buy for particular projects rather than, oh, I've seen that, I'll pick it up, unless I'm on Vinted, which is a nightmare. It's as bad as Floss Tubers. It's very enabling. So if you see a nice piece of Ada or something on there, you can't really let it go, can you? Anyway, let's get back. So like I say, that's that one. That was the Winter Moon by Love Poppet. I have got another Love Poppet design that I want to do, which is the Wren and Snowdrops, but haven't got around to that one yet. What's next? Polar Globe, which is a caterpillar cross stitch piece. Polar bears are also my favourite animals, polar bears and orca. So this one has been stitched on Zweigart Ada again, Misty Blue 14 count, and I did just change one, I think I changed one of these greens, so it showed up better on this blue Ada. So there's that one. What's next? Arctic Friends. Is that in here or is that gone? No, I haven't got that one. Where is that? It's been put away safely somewhere. Let's move on, because otherwise we're going to be here forever. One more chapter. Again, like I say, I'm a big reader. This is a design. Oh, sorry, the light's shining through. Turn it a little bit. So this is by Max Stitches Art, who is an Etsy seller. Again, all that's called for DMCs, and this time stitched on Zweigart black 14 count Ada. I don't have a problem with stitching on dark fabrics, seem to be okay. I know some people struggle with dark fabrics, or if they're quite new, it's a little bit tricky. I don't seem to have had a problem. She says that and then she'll, really struggle with something. But yeah, that's that one. And then have we got anything else that's finished? Just one more that's finished but not fully finished, and that's this one. This is He's a Fun Guy. That shouldn't make me laugh, should it? And this is from Bothy Threads. This is a Rendell design. Just bring him in a little bit close. It's very cute. A lot of back stitch. Again, I don't mind back stitching. That's not a problem that I find. Takes a little bit of time. Got to be a bit patient, but worth it, I think, especially with these designs. Looks really cute. So, like I say, this was a kit from Bothy Threads. So this was all stitched using everything that came in the kit. So Bothy Threads, I don't know what threads they use, but they're all pre-sorted. And the fabric for the Rendell designs has this sort of splash on it. It's a 14 count Ada. So that's that one to go on that big pile over there. That's gonna take a while to tidy up. Right, let's get into sort of a bit more current projects. So sorry, I'm just having a look at what I've got. So this is when things started picking up and more projects were coming in. So let's have a little look, see what have I got here. So I am doing a year-long project, a temperature, a temperature tracker. So I thought I'd have a go at something like that, just which would be a little bit of stitching every day. Hasn't worked out quite that way. So this is a temperature bookshelf. I will put a picture in here of what it's going to look like. So what I have been doing is using my weather app on my phone and just every day writing down the highest temperature of the day. Each temperature is allotted a colour. She does give you ideas of what colours you want to use. I picked my own. This time I am using DMC threads. No, I'm not. That's a lie. CXC threads. I was watching, or have been watching, a lot of lovely Jen from Jen's Stitch Corner, and she talks about using CXC threads quite a lot, so I thought I'd give it a go. Obviously a lot cheaper. This is a long-term project as well, so I've got a little set of threads put away for this project that I can just leave and use for this. I bought the CXC threads from Cross and Crafts, which again is an Etsy shop. I'll link that below. Really good service. I'd really recommend them. I've used them a couple of times now. Well, it is getting near a lot. I'm just going to take off my grime guard just so you can see a little bit better. So this is how far I have got. So I started at the end of last year by putting in some of this bookshelf. Up here is a space for the date, the year. So I've done January and February, both bookshelves. So if I hold it there, you can let me know, do I need to backstitch the books? Here, there are more than one shade of of blue. Don't know, the light's not very good in here to pick it up. But also, obviously, even if there wasn't, that would be quite a big section of blue. So I want to know whether I should backstitch. Let me know what you think. I'm quite happy to do that. These gaps are for little knickknacks that are on the shelf. You would have seen in the pattern picture, hopefully. So I need to get those in, and I want to put those in sooner rather than later so that I can move my fabric down and get on with putting March's books in. I need to extend the shelf. This is I can't work out where to, yeah, extend the shelves and put the shelf in for March's books. So this is the temperature tracker. Did I say who it's by? Christy de Clement on Etsy. I'll link that. Let me put my grime guard back on. Right, that's that one. Like I say, long-term project. I keep that one upstairs and add to it as much as I can. Getting distracted by other things. You all know that feeling. Right, the tea goddess. Now, I've got a box down here with projects in, so I've got to try and find things. Maybe next time I'll be more organised. So this is the bag that I'm keeping my tea goddess in. Like I mentioned previously, I think I did at some point, I make all my own bags. So I used to make my own bags for all my knitting projects. So not all of them. I used to just buy some as well, but I used to make and sell them. So these sort of drawstring bags, for knitting and crochet projects. So now I'm cross-stitching. I thought I'd make my own cross-stitch bags. These are very simple bags. They are literally 2 squares of fabric sewn together with press studs. A bit like a pillowcase, really. This one I put all fancy trims and whatnots on, and this was a little Hello Kitty charm my brother gave me for Christmas. So in here I have the tea goddess. Now, again, I might have to do some fiddling. So I've got in here a travel case from Canny Little Fox, which I keep, has my threads in, my scissors, my needle minder. I really love these travel cases. Well, I forgot what they were called then. I've got 2 of these and I bought my mum one for her birthday. Really, really really nicely made, really well made, and a great price as well, I think, for the amount of effort and skill that's involved in these. So I'll link Canny Little Fox. Make my own grime guards. Might need to be some editing done in a minute, because I should really have taken this out of its hoop. I'll just try and unfold it so you can see what I've done. It's going to be really wrinkly, I do apologise. So I will put in a picture here of what the Tea Goddess should look like. The Tea Goddess is a pattern by Tiny Modernist, and I am in a chat group on Instagram that's run by lovely Lindsay from Stitching Magic 111 for Tiny Modernist stitching. Like everybody who's in it, who's talked about it, it is an enabling group. There are lots of patterns shared, lots of talk about all these wonderful patterns. Now, it's not the best way to show you, granted, because it's got this hoop in the way, and it's very wrinkly. But you can see I've done a bit of back stitching along here. I had to stop here on this enormous skirt because I've run out of blue thread. Which one it was? I have got the thread now. So maybe this one will come back out. She looks a bit creepy without her face. Yeah, so this is an absolutely beautiful design. I've been looking at this for a long time. I was very lucky. My brother kitted this up for me with some help from my mum. Kitted this up for me and bought it for me for Christmas. So yeah, it's everything. It's all the DMC called for threads. I'm stitching this on a 14 count Ada, which is a DMC. It's called Sandstorm. It's not picking up on the camera, but it has got all different shades of, I don't think it will show. No, it just looks a bit grubby, doesn't it? It's got like shades of yellow and orange, pale throughout, pale orange and yellow and cream and white. So yeah, that is that one. I'm just going to roll this up and put my, I was going to put my magnetic clippy things back on, but I can't find them, so I won't. So let's put that there so I remember that's what I need to do. Aha, they've fallen on the floor. Leave them up there. I won't waste time with that. Okay, what's next? Aurora Bearialis. So that is it. This one. Again, another bag I made myself. This has this horrible thing on, which again was from my brother for Christmas. Oh, and this one again has another travel case from Canny Little Fox. Again, for my threads, spare thread, scissors, needle minder, no needle. I bet I pinched it for something else. I use for my stitching gold-plated needles, which might sound fancy, but it's not. If I could use any other needles, then I would, but I have a nickel allergy. So I use the gold-plated needles from the Cross Stitch Guild. They are pricey compared to lots of other needles, but if I didn't use them, I wouldn't be able to stitch. So that's my only reason for using gold-plated needles. Excuse me. Yeah, is because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to stitch. So again, excuse the creases. This one is not in a hoop, but it is creased. Aurora Bearialis. This is a Needlelot Designs. I started this on the 13th of January. I started this as my winter stitching piece to join in with Jen, again from Jen's Stitching Corner, who did winter stitching at the beginning of January. I will link all these floss tubes I talk about, I'll link them down below. I will try and do a bit, I haven't written a list of all the ones that sort of I've been watching have inspired me to do a floss tube. I'll try and remember at the end. So again, Needlelot Designs. This is a small full coverage piece. So you can see it's starting to come up as a circle. This piece of Ada, I don't know, I know it's a 16 count Ada, but I don't know who it's by, what it's called. I picked this up on Vinted, but you can see it's got this sort of starry print, which I know you won't see in the design, but it will in the border when I come to frame it. So I thought it would just match up nicely with that. And again, that one is stitched using all the called for DMCs. Put that back in there. Oopsie daisy. Let's not stuff it back in there. Let's put it back in there. Next, pop that down there. There's going to be a lot of tidying that needs to be done at the end of this. Song of the Seasons. This is another Sal. So this is from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Again, whoop, a bag I made myself. This beautiful birdie fabric. So yeah, Caterpillar Cross Stitch season Song of the Seasons Sal. This is a stitch along hosted by a cross stitch caterpillar, obviously. The design is from Tiny Modernist. Oh, I was like, oh, I've got the pattern in here. No, it is a fuzzy mess because obviously it is a stitch along. One part is released each at a time. I've got the kit, as you can see. Oh, my needle minder's on the back. So this is the needle minder that, is there anything on there that you can't see? No. That's the needle minder that came with the kit. Put that back in there so I know where it is. And it came with all the pre-sorted threads. So they're in there. Those are DMC threads. I chose the Ada kit, so I'm stitching mine on the 16 count Ada. And I have, let's unroll it. Sorry for the creases again. Finish parts 1 and 2. Well, let's fold it in half and then it might be easier for you to see. There we go, that's better. So that's parts 1 and 2. This was part 1, this is part 2. And part 3, I think, is out tomorrow. What day is it? I said it was Wednesday. I think part 3 is tomorrow. So I am keeping up with that. I like to try and keep up with Sal's, although this is only my second one. But you know, if I don't, it won't be the end of the world because I have started another Sal. As well, you've seen a little sneak peek of it, but I will show you it when we get there. So, no, what am I doing here? Did I have it rolled up? I think I had it rolled up, didn't I? I don't think I showed it to you, so you wouldn't know. Right. Okay. That one can go back in there. Ready for tomorrow. What's next? Wildflower by Little Loops. So this is a fully finished object. It's come off the mantelpiece. I'll just give it a little fluff. So Wildflower by Little Loops. That's this super cute bunny. So I've had my eye on this pattern for a long time, but Amy, lovely Amy from All Things Cross Stitch 1 was doing lovey-dovey. No, that's a complete lie. That's the other pillow I've got to show you. I know Amy has done this one, but just ignore that bit that I've just told you. I'll show you it in a minute. Anyway, I know Amy's doing this, like I said, and I've seen Cross Stitch Sarah, lovely Cross Stitch Sarah. Oh, that's tricky to say. Cross Stitch Sarah has done this one. Anyway, this is Wildflower, Little Loops. That's the designer. This one has been stitched on Zygarde Rustico Ada, 16 count. And I did not use the pulled for threads. I've used a mixture of DMCs, Colourworks and Anchor that I had in stash. So you can see that the actual rabbit's sort of variegated. That's one of the Colourworks. So I've made this one into a little pillow. Same fabric from my Tea Goddess bag. So a little bit of fabric on the back. Toy stuffing in the middle. Yeah, beautiful. Really pleased with that one. So that one's currently up on my spring mantelpiece. So let's pop it there. I'm trapped by projects, boxes, bags, all sorts. What have we got next? March Hare and Daffodils, which I will put a picture in here of the finished piece. This has gone. I did this as a birthday card for my mum. I've done some March Hare. I've done some hair designs before. This is a design. Sorry, flopping my eye again. From Wandling Stitches, which is an Etsy seller. Again, everything will be linked. Yeah, so I stitched that one on Ice Blue, so I got Ada, which is a 16 count, and I stitched it using the classic Colourworks. Again, these ones I had in stash. Excuse me. So just matched them up as closely. I used the picture from the pattern, matched them up as closely as I could. So I used Pumpkin Harvest, Brandied Pears, Little Sprout and Golden Star, and just DMC 310 for the eye. So that one was then mounted on mount board, wrapped around mount board, and then the yellow piece behind it was a piece of yellow fabric that I also wrapped around some mount board. So that one went off to Mum. Oh, excuse me, leaning underneath you again. So next piece is another Caterpillar cross stitch. This year I have signed up for the Caterpillar cross stitch subscription boxes. I used to have a yarn subscription last year for my knitting, so this year I thought I'd swap over to a cross stitch. I may also have just ordered my first cotton and twine sub box, but I'll talk about that when it comes. So this one was February subscription box. This is Frogging Around. So this is, like I say, a Caterpillar cross stitch sub box, but it's designed by Little Dove Designs. Let's bring it a little bit closer. So I've used all the kit supplies. This was our 14 count Ada from the kit, and all the DMC threads that were provided. So I've just framed mine up in a hoop and then made my own hoop butt, which was a tutorial from Kat, lovely Kat from Catkin and Lily. She shows you how to make your own hoop butts. So I've done that. I haven't put in a felt circle. On hers she puts a felt circle. I didn't have any felt at the time, so I might give that a go next time. So this is just a mount board circle, and there is one circle of card underneath as well, just to protect your stitches. So this one I've got displayed on the mantelpiece, which is behind you, on a little wooden easel. So yeah, that's Frogging Around. Really pleased with that one, enjoyed that one. Also enjoyed the biscuit that came with that. Always nice to have a little treat. What's next? This is the one that I saw Amy stitching. This is another little pillow. This is the Valentine Hedgehog. Now this is a free pattern from Velvet Pony or Pony Stitches. I think it's Pony Stitches, but both are named. So I saw this come up on Instagram that it was a free pattern and downloaded it. Then Amy was doing February lovey-dovey stitching, and this was one of the patterns she was stitching. So when she started hers, I started mine. I know Amy changed a lot of the colours. I did think about it, but in the end, didn't. I did change some of them. I'd stuck with I know she changed the browns on the hedgehog. In the end, I just went with what was in the pattern. It is very subtle, but I'm quite pleased with it. I changed not that you can see a huge amount, the light pink in the hearts. like the little highlights, and I did different coloured flowers on mine. So that one has been made into a little pillow. It's a little bit of Tilda fabric on the back. So this one was stitched using DMC threads, but changed some of the colours, and it's been stitched on 16 count ice blue Ada from Zygarde, and turned into a little pillow in the same way that my little bunny was. Again, that's from my little spring mantelpiece. Who is next? Oh, the Reading Witch. So this is one of my bags. This is one that I used for knitting and crochet, but it's a nice big bag. And it fits the theme, so it fits on what I've got. Again, I do like a little charm on my bags. So this is Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas, one of my favourites. Little toadstool. Got my Hocus Pocus pin on there. What's in here? This is the Reading Witch. This is a pattern by Donna Stitch. So this is, again, I found on Etsy. And this is a set of 3 again. I'm going to be doing all 3 hopefully. So, oh, let me put that on. Put in a picture of what it should be. So that will show you what it should look like when it's finished. And now I can show you. This is where I'm at. So again, using all the Call for DMCs. This one I'm stitching on 16 count Zygarde pale light grey Ada. This is my little needle minder. It's too peoply outside. This was actually a pin, but I've used Amy's tutorial of how to turn pins into needle minders, which I have done a lot actually. I have a tin full in there of mostly ones that were pins before. So let me just show you one more time. That's that one. I'm using all the Call for DMC threads. I've got them all on. I'm trying to get them out. Oh dear. All on numbered bobbins, and I've got all my bobbins, you see, in there. And this is a little pouch I made for myself. Just to keep all my threads in. So that is that one. So I should say as well with my stitching, I stitch what I want when I want, which I've heard Kat from Catkin and Lily calls Sweewie, stitch what you want when you want. So I don't use any kind of tracking or plans or anything like that. Literally pick up what I want to do. And I tend to pick a project and maybe stitch on it for like a week. And then if I've had enough, move on to something else. So just so you've got an idea maybe of how things progress, I guess. So that's the Reading Witch. Did I tell you? Yeah, I did tell you what it was stitched on. Who's next? Gorjuss Girl. Okay, so that's in here. Again, it's one of my own bags. So, oh, actually, instead of popping in a photo, I can show you the kit box. So this is Ray of Light, which is a Gorjuss Girl design from Bothy Threads. I've always liked Gorjuss Girls. I, years ago, used to be a paper crafter, make greetings cards, and I had a lot of the Gorjuss Girl rubber stamps. So this is a full kit again. So this time I've taken the threads, they come pre-sorted on a card, but I've taken them off and put them on floss drops. So just these wooden ones, which are from Amazon, and I have, let's find one that looks like I haven't just made a mark on it. So just from that card, just copy the symbols over onto them and then keep it on this ring. So that's all the flosses. What am I trying to say? There is in here a metallic, but it's not a DMC, is it? And I didn't realise when I bought the kit, it does say it's got some beads. So that'll be a new thing for me. Let me show you where we are. So this is a paper pattern, this one, that came with the kit, so I'm using that. This is on, so you've just seen on the picture, the background, this is a printed Ada, so it goes from that sort of pinky colour down through to the yellow. So that's the Ada that it's stitched on. So this is one of my grime guards I've made myself. This is a needle minder that used to be a pin, and this is the stitching. So I haven't got any stats or anything to tell you how far through I am, but I've nearly done the majority of the actual girl herself. So there's that one. Enjoying that. That one's gone away for a bit though, while I pick something else. Put those in there. Oh, I think we're getting there, guys. I think we're nearly there. If you've made it this far, well done. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we've got 2 more projects on the go and then some plans. So again, here's another one of my bags with fish on. This is an exciting project for me. So let me, and you're gonna, when I show you how much I've done, you'll be like, oh, it doesn't look very exciting. So this project, again, I mentioned earlier how much I like Greek mythology. This project is called the Odyssey and is a project by, I'll make sure, Quaternion Creations, which is a designer I've been following for a long time on Instagram. Love their patterns, love all the folklore and mythology. So this is the Odyssey. I'll put a picture in here. So this is a Greek myth and it tells the story throughout the stitch. I think it was a stitch along, back along, but obviously I'm not doing it. Stitch along, just starting in the top left-hand corner, following the story through. Now, there's lots of reasons that make this exciting. This is my first Quaternion Creations pattern, which I'm very happy about. It's a almost monochrome piece, so it's mostly stitched in DMC B5200, and I've chosen the accent colour is C972, which is an étoile, which is a slightly sparkly thread DMC, so I can join in with Cats from Catkin and Lily's monochrome March. I have just joined her Patreon as well, so I'm going to be brave and joining on the chat with that. Next exciting thing, this is my first time using hand-dyed fabric. So this is fabric from Stony Bank Creations. It's called Ocean Drift. It's a 16 count Ada. So it's this blue, dark blue mottled. Also, I am listening to the audiobook Odyssey by Stephen Fry whilst stitching this. So tell me the story. You do get some information with this pattern about the story, but I can listen to the story as I stitch. I've listened to all 4 of Stephen Fry's Greek mythology books. Love them. Would highly recommend if you're looking for an audiobook. Mythos, Heroes, Troy, now on to Odyssey. Really good. And finally, I'm not stitching this alone. I'm stitching this with my brother, Finley, who lives in Cardiff. He's at university in Cardiff. He loves Greek mythology. I got him into cross-stitch a couple of years ago. And he's also stitching it, so we can share our progress. Now, after all that spiel, you're going to be like, oh, ready? Look at this massive start. Ta-da! That's it. Yeah, that's your lot. This took me about an hour. Listen to the first hour of the audiobook. I'm trying my hardest to keep this as neat as I can. I don't think I can get it any closer without it sort of fuzzing up. No. I know a lot of people, when they're talking about stitching in white, it, for some reason, it's tricky. The stitches don't always look that neat. So what I'm trying to do is railroad my stitches, which it was something I'd never heard of before. Again, learned from Kat over at Catkin and Lily. She has some brilliant tips and tutorials, videos, and she railroads her stitches, which basically means lots of you out there are like, yeah, we already know this, Hannah. So just stitch your first arm of your cross normally, then to railroad the top, so come up through the back of your fabric, and when you're going down, back down, instead of just going straight down, put your needle through the two threads, to make them lay flat. I mean, I haven't said throughout any of these, but obviously these are all 14, everything I've stitched is 14 to 16 count Ada, so I stitch 2 over 1 for everything. I like a loop start, and that's what I'm doing for all these projects. So hopefully I'll have a bit more to show you next time, and you'll be a little bit more excited by that. Maybe not as excited as I am by all the extra bits and bobs, but yeah, that's that one. I've been looking forward to doing that one for a long time. So, oh dear, I've just looked down. I'm absolutely covered in little bits of thread. Never mind. Okay, one more that I'm currently stitching on, and then we're on to plans. So I might just take this off. Okay. Let's move my needle so I know where it is. So you did see a little sneak peek of this earlier when I showed you my frame. This is the Secret Lagoon cell, again by Pony Stitches, who was the designer from the Little Hedgehog. I had been looking at this for a little while, saw some sneak peeks, which I'll put in here. Obviously, like I say, it's a sal, so we don't know what the whole piece is going to look like. Then I saw Sarah, a cross stitch Sarah, had started hers, was taking part, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it then. And I think she finished hers really quickly. It was lovely to see the finished piece. It was really nice. So I thought, crack on. So this is how far I am on that. Again, a little bit creepy because he's got sort of a ghosty face here. I am stitching mine on pale blue Zygarde Ada 16 count. I've got one of my own needle minders down here. That used to be a pin. Yeah, using all the Call for DMC threads. And this one, and my Odyssey piece actually, I am using Pattern Keeper for the first time. So I haven't told you the stats, obviously because there's barely anything on that other one. And I'm not sure how stats are going to work with this one because it's the one part. So obviously it's not going to tell you the percentage for the whole piece that you've done. I don't know how it'll work as pieces, as parts are released, whether you I'll work it out. You want to let me know if you're a seasoned Pattern Keeper user and you've got any tips, let me know. So oopsie. So there, this really beautiful colourful fish, little starfish, an almost whole seal, which Sebi informs me, that's my nephew, is a Weddell seal, going by the colours. He's a big animal lover. We're really into sort of, nature documentaries and all sorts. And then down here is another starfish and another little fish. So hopefully, well, definitely by the time I see you next, that will be done. And I think this is two weekly, the parts are coming out. Yeah, I think so. So that is just turning around to look at my own stitching. That's that. Do you do that when you stitch? You stop for a while and you just look at it and you think, oh, I've done that. Or look, all those tiny little crosses have made that picture. Or I like the feel of the crosses, and you just run my finger over that for a little bit. Probably get more cross stitching done if I didn't stop and do that. So that's that one. And I have got actually, which is sort of, I don't really have haul as such, but I have bought some fabric. There's that one with all the sea creatures on. And then the matching coral fabric. This is Lewis and Irene fabric. So I'm going to make a bag. Might do that this afternoon. bag for that project to go in. And then I've got all my flosses in here, so I need to make a little bag to keep those in as well. Right, plans. We're getting there, So my plans, I've just got 2 definites that are kitted up, ready to go. So the first one is in this little penguin bag. I have got a picture of this one actually. For some reason, I don't very often, when I was printing patterns, I don't very often print the front cover because it uses up a lot of ink, but it is this one. This is the, excuse me, Modern Folk Embroidery Ruskin's Penguins. One can't be angry when one looks at a penguin. Love it. Again, I saw this on Kat's channel. As soon as I saw this, I had to go and have a look for it myself. And she's doing, like I say, monochrome March, but also Modern Folk Embroidery March. So this kind of fits the bill twice. So that's that one. And I have got everything ready. Black and white thread even, say it properly. DMC 310 and B5200. I did think, I was talking to my sister about it, I might, when I start stitching, is the white in the centre of this heart, leave that, and the white in the centre of these hearts in the border, leave that till the end, and I might possibly go for a really bright pink and put that in instead. Haven't made my mind up yet. I have got my fabric again, treated myself to some hand-dyed fabric. This is, oh, let me turn the page, I've got it written down here ready. This is the Coffee Crafts fabric. They don't name their fabrics. This is a 16 count Ada with the opalescence or opal running through. So, oh, okay, you see the sparkle. So it's this sort of turquoisey, tealy blue. So that one is all ready to go. I'll put my bag. So I'm hoping to start that. Maybe I'll start that when I finished my first part for the stitch along that I've just shown you. Maybe I'll treat myself to a new start then. So that's the Ruskin's Penguins. Then the other pattern I've got ready to go is, I don't know if I've got it written down actually. Have I? No, I'm going to have to use my brain and try and remember what it was called. So this is a Jurassic Park piece. I'll pop it up here. This is by Sew Needle Juice, who's over on Etsy. She's got a couple of patterns I like. Jurassic Park is one of my all-time favourite films. So I have made this bag, which is a Tula Pink fabric with the T-Rex in his teeth. So that's this one. I have got down here somewhere some very exciting white Ada. So that's 16 count white Ada. I have got in this little pouch here, I've got all my threads bobbined up. This time I am using CXC threads. There's quite a lot of threads for this one, and I'm quite happy with, sorry to show you this, I'm quite happy with the CXC threads. No, they're not the same as DMCs. But then I knew they wouldn't be because they are a cotton polyester blend. They're half the price. But that doesn't mean they're not a good thread. They're a little bit fluffier than DMC threads, but that gives you a really good coverage, I think, personally. Obviously, I haven't compared all the colours to DMCs to know if they're exactly the same, but I'm quite happy with them. So that is a little pouch full of those. Whoopsie. Try and line the poppers up. So that's those. And oh, I've got all these needle minders in this little metal tin, and I've got it on I've got a little table next to me that's metal and it's stuck to it. I'll just try and pull it off. I have made myself, from a pin I bought on Vinted, a Jurassic Park needle minder. So, woo, that's that one. Pop that down there. Ooh, stuck back to the table. Right, so that one's all kitted up and ready to go too. So, I think, so those are my two plans. Obviously, well, no, I don't mean obviously, but it's not a huge number of plans, but it works for me at the moment. From being a one at a time stitcher to having almost 10 projects on the go, I think that's not too bad. I have got another plan. At some point, I would like to start a full coverage piece. Like I said, I've been looking at a piece. I don't know what I'm looking up there for. It's not there. I've been looking on Unconventional X Stitch website, and I think I have chosen which piece I'll put it up here. And I'll write on the screen what it's called because I can't remember. It's something hydrangeas. I'll pop it here. They do this pattern as a full size or a miniature, and I'm torn between the two. Because it's my first big full coverage piece, I'm wondering whether to do the miniature, but I know that means you get sort of less detail, not as high quality a picture. If you've done either a miniature or full size cross, what we're looking for, full coverage piece for, let me know, and just let me know if is there a major difference in between the quality of the design for the miniature and the full size. So that is a plan for some point. Obviously, a full coverage cross stitch is, you've got to think about, everyone's got different budgets, and so I've got to think about the money side of things. So that's that. Have I got anything else I want to talk about? I don't think so. Let's just see if I can remember all the floss tubers that I always watch at the minute and have inspired me to have a go at this. So I've mentioned some already, so let's say those again. That's Jen from Jen's Cross Stitch. That's a good start, wasn't it? Jen from Jen's Stitchy Corner does beautiful full coverage. And I have to say, these people that I'm naming, I've watched all of their floss tubes. When I found them, I went back and watched everything. So we've got Jen's Stitch Corner, Lindsay at Stitching Magic 111, and she is one of the biggest influences for starting the floss tube. She did a great little series of why to do a floss tube and how to do a floss tube, so that was brilliant. So that's Lindsay. Then I've mentioned Kat lots of times, Kat at Catkin and Lily. I'm sure lots of you have heard of her. She's got a huge following on floss tube. She also is a pattern designer. I have purchased one of her patterns recently, the Little Mermaid pattern. It's called Mermaid on a Rock, which I'm going to do at some point. And like I said before, I am part of her Patreon group. Definitely worth a look. Who have we got next? Amy, I've mentioned Amy at All Things Cross Stitch 1, who I said did the tutorial for the needle binders. She's great, and I mean it in the loveliest way. She is mad. She's really fun, really good fun. So that's Amy. Oh, here we go. Pam, lovely Pam at Ditsy Daisy Crafts, really lovely, honestly, such a beautiful lady. She's so kind, and I love at the end of her floss tubes how she ends with her Scottish word of the day. That's brilliant. So that's Pam. Who else have we got that I always watch? Nikki at Nikki at Knickknacks Crafts, beautiful Welsh accent. And beautiful designs as well. She makes beautiful project bags. Or who else? Is there anybody else that I always watch all the time? Or are they the only ones for the moment? Oh, the pressure. Racking my brains. Sarah at Cross Stitch. How could I forget Sarah? Sarah at Cross Stitch Sarah. Again, beautiful cross stitcher, wonderful designs. yeah, love watching Sarah. Ooh. Let's leave it there for now. If I remember any, those are the ones I watch all the time. I don't miss an episode. So they're ones who made me think, yeah, maybe I could have a go at this. So definitely they're all worth a mention. Like I say, they'll be listed. If you're a floss tuber and you want me to have a look at your video, leave it in the comments. If you watch other floss tubers that I should definitely be watching, put those in the comments. If you want to put anything in the comments, that would be brilliant. If you think this has been worth watching, maybe you can give it a like, tell other people that I'm here, whatever you fancy doing. Like I say, I'm on Instagram as well if you want to give me a follow over there. If you've made it to the end of this quite long video, then well done you. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous about doing it because, I mean, like I said, I've been on YouTube before, but I don't know what it is about Floss Tube. Cross stitchers are lovely people. They really are. From what the people I've spoken to, it's fine. But there's always been this little thing in the back of my mind that, oh, there's a proper way to do cross stitch. You should do it a proper way. And it's an old craft and there's certain ways of doing it and everything else. But having watched Floss Tube, there isn't a correct way. There are no cross stitch police. So as long as you enjoy what you're doing, then that's all we need, isn't it, really? If you enjoy what you're doing, enjoy what you end up with, that's all good. Right, I can feel myself waffling. I can feel my throat getting dry. I need to go make myself a cup of tea. I also need to tidy up this great big mess that's in front of me. Then I have to try and edit this video, and hopefully when I've gone like this, there will be pictures. So, okay, I don't know when I'll be back. Let me know. If you want me to come back, I will. It will be a couple of weeks, definitely, if I'm back. So, thank you everyone who's taken the time out to watch. Leave a comment, leave a like, all that YouTubey goodness, and I will see you all again very soon. Enjoy your cross stitch and take care. Bye.